Welcome to 2-Minute Math with Dr. John, where we cover a math concept in under 2 minutes. That way, if you want to watch it again, it won't take too long. Now in this video, we're going to look at horizontal and slant asymptotes. Now, a horizontal asymptote is an imaginary line that represents a y value that the function approaches but never equals. It occurs in rational functions. So a rational function, if you've watched my video, is one in which there is a fraction with x in both the numerator and denominator. In other words, it's like a function divided by a function. Now, the way we find the horizontal asymptote is we just look at the degree of both of the numerator and denominator functions. Okay, so if the degree of the numerator, the degree of the numerator is the same as the denominator, then all we got to do is divide the leading coefficients. For example, let's say we have 3x squared plus 2x minus 5 over 4x squared minus 7x plus 3. Well, just look at the leading coefficients, 3 over 4, and our horizontal asymptote is y equals 3 over 4. And this is what that graph would look like. The horizontal asymptote would be right here at 3/4. Now, how about if the degree of the denominator is greater than the numerator? Well, the horizontal asymptote will be at y equals 0. Let's look at an example. X plus 5 over x squared plus 3x minus 10. Now, whatever we put in for x, notice the bottom, the denominator, is going to grow faster than the numerator. Even if we're using a negative x, the bottom, the denominator, will grow faster than the numerator. Therefore, this is going to be a fraction whereby it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and goes to 0, but never reaches 0. Gets very, very close to 0. Okay? So, here is what that would look like. Notice the lines get very close to 0, but never actually reach 0. Okay? So that's if the denominator is bigger than the numerator. But what about if the numerator, the degree of the numerator, is greater than the denominator? Okay? Well, here's an example. X squared plus 3x minus 10 divided by 3x plus 2. Okay? Well, it would seem that the numerator is going to get bigger as x grows, whether positive or negative. The numerator will get bigger than the denominator. So there's no limit. In other words, no horizontal asymptote. Actually, there is an asymptote but it's at an angle, and we call it a slant asymptote. Now, to find the slant asymptote, we just divide the numerator by the denominator. In other words, this is a fraction, okay? What we would get here is that y is equal to 1/3 x plus 7/9. Plus there's a remainder. We don't worry about that. Okay? So in other words, our slant asymptote is an imaginary line that has a y-intercept of 7/9 and a slope of 1/3. This is what that would look like. We can't call it a horizontal asymptote because it's not horizontal. It goes at an angle. But notice the graph gets very close, never touches it. So a slant asymptote is kind of like similar to a horizontal asymptote. Well, I hope this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and have a great day.